very live. And how you like it tonight?
It's beautiful. I was listening. Yeah. I'm going to push it. That Juice for the City lady. It's a good thing.
Oh, that was really amazing. Yeah. I have so many things that happen in hate crimes. I didn't even get past number 2.
Yeah. Okay, Tzadik. We'll be in touch.
All right. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we make this louder by my speakerphone?
Fundraiser, so sit back, enjoy, fasten your seatbelts, and let your fingers do the inviting. You go to your phones now and invite everybody you know to tune in for the most exciting, provocative, hashkafically insightful radio program that probably has ever existed, but certainly the one without peer that exists right now. And it's not too hard of a job because no other radio program attempts to do this. So without further ado, let's go to the 11 brothers in Se'iyeh Nayach, which incidentally, both Pitzala 11 and Tzvi and Matisio 11 made separate recordings, which you can find on YouTube. Pitzala did this on, it's called the Moroccan Song, and Matissa did it with Freilich Band. So you can hear their both versions, but here they're doing it together way before they did those other recordings. So sit back and enjoy, and then we'll be back with another a cappella rendition from yours truly, and then the program will begin.
say or something? No. I just looking at Okay, there's another thing going on now.
Well, Rabbis, I hope you enjoyed that introduction. Now, before we get into the studio, as we're setting up, I'd just like to share with you my own composition, which I'll sing for you a cappella. Is anybody out there who wants to put it to a musical arrangement, be my guest. I want to dedicate this niggin to the Noshim Simchonius of Klal Yisrael, in particular, my daughters-in-laws, my granddaughters, my daughter-in-law's mother-in-law, my mother, she should have her Fushalema, and my Hapenistas, and all the wonderful women who are preparing for Shabbos. Eishes chayu miyimso, v'rachai mipni nemichra, otach bo lehevalo, v'shalom yechzor. Gimela sutai veloira kol yemei chayeho doshet zemer ufishtim batas bechefes kapeho oy 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 yisakayni yisaycher mimechoto vilachmo batokem biyoid lailo but you didn't have lives of a choiklin naroiseho. Zomemasa hadevati mi prichape hanata karem chograbois mosneha ate amnetz zero aseho ay 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 tamokito v'sachro lo yichbe balaylo neiro yodecho shilcho bahakishor v'chapeh hatom chupelech oikapo pawarso leoni v'hiyadeh shilcho lo evyoin loisiro v'veisa misholech ki chobeisa
Okay, Rabbi Isai, that was your humble servant. That was a cappella, a niggin Eishes Chayil. If there's somebody out there who wants to help arrange it, we'll get it out there. You're welcome to do it. Anyhow, we're going to go straight to our first segment here. I would like to introduce you to Manis Friedman. If you thought he was a one-shot wonder and he only did a rank of stupidity and anti-hashkafic Yiddishkeit with regard to Shaitlach, I'm sorry to say, here's strike two. Here we go.
Why is homosexuality an abomination? I, it's not.
Strike one. It's not.
It's not.
Ox.
Homosexuality is an avera. That's what it is. It's an avera. It's an avera like eating on Yom Kippur. It's an avera like adultery. It's an avera like eating chametz on Pesach. That's what it is. Now, unless you believe that eating chametz on Pesach is an abomination, if eating chametz on Pesach is not an abomination, then neither is homosexuality.
Even though the Torah says toeva. Ox.
Made okay?
They say, oh, okay, they have emotional issues.
Ah.
Okay, let them be.
So here's how it happened.
Like, okay.
First, the very religious,
Listen to him making chayzik of the Charedim.
it's not just a sin, it's an abomination. Then they figured out, you know what? It's not an abomination. Oh, okay, then do it. You see, if you try to embellish, you end up losing. You don't need to embellish. It's an avera.
It's Amalek, Rashi
Why
says.
is
It's
it
not a regular
worse
Avera.
avera than anything else?
Yeah, it is. Rashi says so.
Who could say
Rashi,
that it's
Chazal.
a worse avera than anything else? Come on, stop. An avera is an avera.
You hear him downplaying
You have
downplaying
your
it?
favorite avera, I have my favorite avera.
Here's Litzanis about Averas.
In general, this is really important. Listen to this. If a person does something they're not supposed to do, they are violating a commandment. If you know which commandment it is, then you can say, I'm sorry. If you don't know which commandment it is, then you're confused. If you're suffering because something happened to you that was wrong, but you don't know what makes it wrong, you don't know how wrong, then you're out of control. And you're suffering unnecessarily. We've gotten carried away, way too far with psychological drama. It's much healthier to go back to halacha. So instead of saying homosexual, that's perverted. The word perverted doesn't show up in the Torah. In the Torah it says, don't do that. You did it, so apologize, do tshuva, and stop it. Oh, but now you're a pervert. Come on. Cut that out. That doesn't belong in Jewish life. That should
Fool.
not be part of a Jew's vocabulary. A sin is a sin. Not less, but also not more. So if somebody was not sneezdik, that's exactly what happened. It wasn't sneezdik. Oh no, they're damaged for life. Stop it. Again, unless eating on Yom Kippur damages you for life, then why should any other avera? So let's not get too religious about this. Somebody once wrote to the Rebbe, they have a problem in their marriage and so on. So the Rebbe wrote back,
Cut it.
that you're
Finished. Okay, Rabbi Isai, do you understand what's wrong with what he's saying? First of all, he's speaking to a group of women, and this stuff goes out on YouTube to thousands of people. So the first thing he says, it's an avera like any other avera. That's strike one. It's not an avera like any other avera, because when the Torah says that milchamas Hashem ba'amalek midor dor, and ein hakisei shalem, God's throne is not complete, nor is his name complete until he defeats Amalek. And Rashi says, ashakorcha baderech, that you were accosted on the way. And Rashi says, loshen mikre, happenstance, carry, it's emissions, seminal emissions, mishkav zocha. So Rashi identifies that the sign konan of Amalek is the activity of mishkav zocha. And this is a direct clash with Almighty God. He doesn't say this about not helping your neighbor unload his donkey his chamor belidas. It doesn't say that. No, not every avera is equal. This is from the shalish chamuris, from the 3 severe averas that you have to give up your life. Yahareg va'al yavor. So he's an ox, a tipish, a chamor belidas. I'm not trying to be nice to him. It's outrageous that a man who's approximately 70 years old is misleading people on a social issue which so many people are going astray. Lubavitch has already produced one Frankenstein named Shmuley Bateach with the schmutz. And now Manis Friedman is with the he and the lighthearted jollies about this. It's just an Avera, like any other Avera. And it's not perverted. What do you mean it's not perverted? What do you mean it's not an abomination when the Torah says to'eva? Of course the Gemara says to'eva to'eba. He's making a mistake. But it's an abomination as well. Ein mikra yotze midei pshuta. It means the word has many meanings and many inferences. But the fact that we read about this on Mincha at Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Kippur, when it's for the most severe intimacy infractions, it's not. It's an Aveira. We all have Aveiras. We all do all the Aveiras. You didn't hear that really clearly because I was talking over him, but he says we all do Aveiras. So together we do all 613 Aveiras. The whole smug way and the jolly way he's talking, and you got to see this on the internet, on the Torah Cafe Forbidden Lifestyles. He's pouring water. This is an Amalek. Amalek poured water. He made a kaltkite, a krirus, a kaltkite about the severity of transgressions. And I'm sorry to say that's exactly what he's doing. I don't know what he's getting into about psychologists, psychiatrists. I'm not getting into this. But the Torah wants a person to feel guilty about his aveiros. So what he's trying to know, we don't want you to go into a super depression, but look into Tehillim, which they say in Chabad, right? And when they say Tehillim, David HaMelech speaks about how his sin is constantly in front of him, etc., etc. He didn't say like, Manis, it's just another Aveira. If eating chametz on Pesach, by the way, is chorus. Okay, so it's a sort of an abomination. It's a very severe. He happened to pick very severe things like Yom Kippur. So either eating on Yom Kippur, chorus, eating on Pesach, chorus. In other words, his own tongue trapped him. His inner ruchni is saying it's severe, it's on par and worse, frankly, because it's not Yahareg Val Yava eating on Yom Kippur or eating on Pesach, eating chametz on Pesach, eating leaven on Pesach. Understand? But this is a problem. He's been out in the Ari Hasada to which he's in Minnesota for too long. They got to bring him back and put electrodes on his head and get him back in line. With the Rebbe speak so callously and jokingly about this thing, and he tried like a snake. He tries to blame it on the religious fundamentalists. They made this worse than other Averos. No, your Torah made it worse. Your Chazal, your Rashi made it worse. And in terms of perversion, everybody who doesn't understand simple biology, that this is an act of perversion, okay? Because the Chazal say if we didn't have laws of tznius and regulations, we will learn tznius from a cat. So he seems to be saying the same thing like the Oisvar of Bateach. Bateach says, you know what? It's a chayk. You know what a chayk is? A chayk is a law that we don't know the rational reason for, like let's say shatnez, okay? That's a chayk, or para aduma. So the koifer, Bateach, who tries to sell everybody on the benefits of same-gender marriage, so they say, it's a chayk. And he's saying it's just another Aveira. Where are the leaders of Lubavitch, of Chabad? When are they going to control the Frankensteins that they're making? It's like the Wild West. Again, I want to emphasize quickly, I criticize Satmar, I criticize Lakewood, I criticize Aguda, wherever it is, because Moshe Rabbeinu told my brother Levium, take a sword to your own people. You stand up for morality. I don't hate them. I love them. I think about them all. I appreciate their good stuff. And I will take issue with their bad stuff because they're issuing the decline. They are contributing to the decline of Klal Yisrael. Did Dimitri, did my guy call in yet? Yeah, can we put him on? Okay, we're going to our next guest. Okay. We're about to go to our next guest who's going to give us an update about what's happening in Eretz Yisrael. Hello, are you with us? I don't hear him.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Shalom Aleichem. So, Tzadik, there's something phenomenally important. We have around 15 minutes or so to discuss this. There's something phenomenally important that's a new low in the history of Klal Yisrael. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we've always had problems with the Misyavnim. We've always had problems with the Erev Rav. Those problems are as old as the history of Klal Yisrael from the very inception. However, to see within the quote-unquote Haredi community of Askonis, of Kanoim, to see a split, to see one group of Haredim, Askonim, Kanoim, so to speak, turning on another group in something that goes to the very quintessence, to the very heart of the very Kedusha of Klal Yisrael. The Gedolei Yisrael, at the beginning of the founding of the State of Israel, I think they might have said it's Yahareg V'al Yavar in terms of Giyas Bonus. So to see now a civil war breaking out within the ranks that most of the people, Olam Goyim, are not aware of, is a truly horrific new nadir. It's a new depth. It's a new low that reflects on how we have cascaded towards Gomorrah. Can you tell us what is happening with Giyas Banis? What is the difference between Chaim that has been an organization of Haredim who are standing up and helping these women to avoid being tricked into the draft, and this new organization, B'nais Melech, that's also ostensibly being run by prominent Haredim?
Yeah. So you mentioned civil war. I just wanted to comment on that. Yes, in one sense, that's the best word really to use over here. But on the other sense, to be it's not really a civil war at all. And I'll explain as by way of introduction. Just a few seconds over here. I have in my hand, I'm holding a handbook. It says Pinkas Kes Libanes Matilas Das. It's a handbook for girls who are trying to submit their religiosity. It's a form you fill out to say you're religious. You get it signed by a dayan from the Rabbanut, and you mail it in the mail. And this is what the girls have been doing for 72 years in Israel. And every single girl who turns 16 and a half, till she turns 18, she has a year and a half to send it in. You send it in, it says you're religious. Religious means I keep kosher and I don't drive on Shabbos. That's it. That's the whole criteria. You send it in and that's it. And all of a sudden now, in the last year and a half, 2 years, they've been tightening the noose, obviously around more the Mizrahi, the Dati, Bali Chuvas, people are Shvach, and they're trying to get them somehow to get their hands on them. Now, if you mail it in the mail, what are they supposed to do? They have to take it on and they have to give you a pair. They have to give you a diploma. So what they do is they try to trick them to come to the Lishka Fagiyas, the draft office, for an interview to make sure you're really from, and they check out what you're wearing, and they check out your phone. And they try all kinds of tricks to try to intimidate you, say, you're really religious? Come on. You have a phone? A smartphone? No, it has a filter. And they'll try to, you're not really. And they try to intimidate you until they get you to sign. And many times these girls fall to shmad. As a matter of fact, the Ma'ariv, which is a Friday newspaper, just came out a few weeks ago, the front page, 27% of from girls, Dati girls, not from Haredi, 27 from girls, Shemer Taramitas, went to from schools, religious schools, fell to the army, Yehorav Yavar. And even according to their Rabbanah, they're not allowed, but they were tricked in and snagged in. And they set a goal of 40%. And for the Haredim, set a goal now of 1%. They want 1% of Haredim. Obviously, the regular Bizakah girls are not going to go, so they'll go after the Bali Jews, the ones for broken homes, the ones that had a Shmachkeit. And I'm holding my hand now. It's a handbook called, it's published by Chotab, which is a Mizrahi institution. Now, really, I wouldn't read what a lot of stuff it says in here because there's a lot of poison in here. Mizrahi Hashkafis are certain things that I would not want to read. Like it says, for example, on the cover, it's for girls who are trying to get out of the army service, and if they're going to do instead Shirat Lulumi, which all our Rabbanim Chaznish says, it says on my heart. And I can't point in the Shulchan Aruch, but it says on my heart that it's Yehorav Yavar. So these are things I wouldn't want to discuss. But just to point out that even this Mizrahi organization is giving out this handbook with what to do about the new regulations and strangulations, I call them, to try to get the girls and trick them into coming into Lishka. And on page 13 over here, we have questions and answers. girls that have questions and common questions. And here is one of the questions it says. On page 13, I am a frum girl, but I'm learning in a Lamedes de Tichon Chiloni, in a Fry school, in a non-religious school. A lot of times that happens because girls want to get accepted to good universities, or they want to get a good job. And certain like Fry high schools are more like centralized high schools, have like a better name or better chance, whatever the political reasons are, but they're frum. So in them a free like a both tour, do I have to be worried about not getting a tour and be intimidated and having to fight for my rights, or at the same rights as any other girl who's religious who lives in a circle? And the answer is this Mizrahi organization. According to law, your institution we learn is not relevant. After it has nothing to do with getting to it, and you're just as entitled, and do not be intimidated. Stand on your rights, send it in by mail, and if they don't do it, you call us up, and we'll get you a lawyer, but don't step foot into the other thing. This is what the Mizrahi organization is saying. The one that holds it, the organization that holds its plenty mother to do all kinds of other things, like go to Shir Lumi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're not according to our way, they're what we call very left. The left of the spectrum is what they're saying. And all the way on the right hand of the spectrum, we have the frum people saying, don't go into the safe, don't go in, send it by mail, don't go in. And if they send you, say you have to come, don't do it, don't listen. Make sure you keep the receipt of your certified mail where you sent it. And if it doesn't work, you call up on Afghanistan, we'll get you a lawyer, don't go there. And yet many ladies from the SHMOS, it's an organization that opened up about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they have volunteers, altogether about 120 volunteers that stand at all the lishkas, the drafter offices all across the land, standing there for girls who don't know this information. It's not advertised in the front pages of the religious newspapers, and the reason is because they're part and parcel of the government, and it's very hard for them to fight against the government that they love so much and that they work with. So nobody knows about this information, and they stand outside the list of the gears and they say, girl, you're going to give in your taxes at the hand, don't do it. Don't do it.
I want to emphasize, these are Mizrahi women who are doing this.
So this handbook was printed by a Mizrahi organization.
No, I'm talking about the ladies who stand outside.
The ladies who stand outside actually very frum ladies. Actually, the lady from yesterday, which is the story that we want to focus on, was Rebbetzin Elfman. Her husband is a guy in Chuk. Some say he's a Rebbe.
Okay, wait. We're getting. Let me just interrupt you because it might be a little too much, and I just want to make sure that I and everybody else understands.
Yeah.
Isn't there a group of Mizrahi women, Dati Lumi women, meaning that also do not want the girls drafted, and they're trying to do things to stop the modern Orthodox or nationalistic Mizrahi type girls from being fooled into being drafted?
Yeah, I'm aware of an organization called Hotam. They're the ones that publish this handbook that I have in my hand right now. But I'm not involved with them. I don't know exactly the extent.
I see. Okay, so now let's move forward. Until recently, until a certain amount of time ago, there was an organization called Chamasayach. There was Haredi people, and there were Haredi women. And that's what you were.
About 120 volunteers, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And these women were standing outside and
they took turns to stand outside, which is like gears all over the place, and to warn girls who are coming, who are falling for the trap. They got in the mail a threat, a warning. Hey, you want a tour? You can't send it by mail. You have to come in person. Now, according to the law, there's no such law. They're just trying to trick them to come in. So if the girls would know not to be afraid, they wouldn't be afraid.
So let me explain. Once the girls come in, they're much worse off than if they just send the documentation in, because they have professionals inside that play mind games and that try to entrap the girls into saying things which they can use.
Give me your phone. They'll say, give me your phone. Hey, you have a Facebook. Facebook? Oh my gosh, how can you be from Facebook? You can keep Shabbos and have Facebook? No way. Come on, come to the army. Stop with the jokes.
And that's the way they get a lot of the girls. Okay, so now, until now, the battle lines were clear. The Chamasayach organization was Haredi women who were standing outside at different locations and educating the girls at the last minute, lahavdil, but it's not such a lahavdil. The Gentiles in America and in different countries in the world that are pro-life and against abortion will stand outside abortion clinics, and they will persuade people and tell them there are options, and that's what that's what the Yidden are doing here. So what has happened recently? What has changed now? Where's the Civil War aspect?
So right. So now, before I respond to that question, question. Let me see one sentence before. So here we have Mizrahi left, what we call left organization, saying don't go in. There's no such law. There's no such law. We have the Haredi organization, which is made up of very frum Yerushalmi ladies, all the way. Some of them from the soccer Keto, some of them are Jishvayasha Litvish, but very frum. They're saying the same thing. Don't go in. There's no such law. It's a lie. It's a bluff. So that basically covers the whole quality show of the religious spectrum. And nobody ever argued with this. You ask any lawyer, everyone will tell you this. And you can Google it right now. All of a sudden, an organization opened up Pesach, Tashanai and Tess, like 6-7 months ago, 8 months ago. And they opened up under a new mantra, we are saving girls from going to the religious ideas, blah, blah, blah. That's what they said. But the bottom line is they hired a whole bunch of new ladies, volunteers hired, and they stand outside the religious ideas. And they encourage girl after girl to go in. And I have a video on my phone right now that shows a lady from the Chaim organization. Actually, it's all Rebbetzin Altman. She's a Chashiv Rebbetzin. There's thousands of Hasidim and followers and that Leistis and Taybrock and all over. Her husband is Rabbi Yosef Altman. He's now in America, actually, in Williamsburg. And for Hasidus. And he, he's book products, has his Hesher on it, hooks up, safer, very popular, very successful, very prestigious. And his wife, she's the Rebbetzin of the whole Hasidus, which is a huge following. And she takes from her precious time to volunteer for this organization to save the night Israel from Shemai. And she went down there just a couple of weeks ago, and she stood outside listening to the geese. And I have a video on my phone. I wish I could send it around. And it shows how a girl comes, a poor girl, she's 17 years old, dressed like a big soccer girl. And she comes up to listen to the geese. Rebbetzin Altman got her first, because she was standing on the street. And she says, you're coming to give you that? You're religious? Yeah. He's like, you don't have to go in. I can help you. The girl says, באמת? You can help me? She's like, yeah, betach. And as she's about to talk to her, this big lady, about 300-400 pounds, her name is Mrs. Salmanovich. She has this black tichel on. She looks like she's from Meishar. She comes running over with the fury of the Satan himself. She takes the girl, and before you know it, it's like all this honking in the street because she's standing in the street. It's hard to figure out exactly how it happened. But 4 seconds later, this Mrs. Salmanovich had the girl racing with her to the other side of the street, to the other side of which the is. And the video shows how talking, and this Salmanovich is mamish like the Nachash HaKadmoni, convincing her about something. It's hard to know what. And at the end of the video, it shows her being escorted into the Lishkas Hagias trap, the door. It's like a turnstile, it's like a jail. And the girl goes in, and Mrs. Altman told me over the phone when I spoke to her that day. This is not the first time it happened. It's only the first time we have a video of it. It's been happening all the time. And she said she got a phone call that day from fellow Miss Nadler, fellow volunteers in Tel HaShomer, that delicious ideas near B'nai Brak, where the same exact thing repeated itself. And it's been going on for weeks and months. A new organization, B'nai Melech, opened up to do exactly what the state of Israel, the Ministry of Defense, has been trying to do over the last year and a half, and that is get the girls to go into Lishka Giz. We might even give them a lot of them doors. We might even let them off dog. But the first thing they're demanding is let's normalize and let's naturalize. Let's make this perfectly normal and change the status quo of 72 years and get all the girls to first come into Lishka Giz. Obviously, the real ones are not really there, but slowly but surely. And it's the organization. So you have left Mizrahi saying, no. Right, no. Everyone in between, no. Everyone except for the state of Israel is saying, the government, the secular people saying, you gotta go in. And the organization says, yeah, they're right. You gotta go in.
So now the question is, I gotta move it up a little bit. So the question is like this. I understand that the question is that all of this to get other Haredi women, Zalmanovich types, to either to sell out for money or to be duped foolishly into thinking they're doing something positive. But either way, to pay these people to do this cost money. Who is being mamain? Who is financing this new organization, and who is behind it?
So his name is Aaron Sobel. He lives in Ramat Shlomo, and he davens in a shul together with a friend of mine. That's his name. He's about 28 years old. He's unmarried. And he's the one that he bought new cell phones for all these new ladies of his. He got them to break away some of them from Chemizach, and he hired new ones. And he bought all these cell phones recorded, and he told them all their conversations recorded. And actually this morning I spoke to Mrs. Christ. Mrs. Christ is a lady, she's 23 years old, and she's like the big mouthpiece for this new B'nai Tzalach organization. And I called her up, I asked her, what's going on here? Why are you chasing the Sheikh Chemizach ladies? That's what they did yesterday. They chased her away. That's the story. We'll try to end off with that. And in the middle of the conversation, all of a sudden I hear, oh, like it's this really voice, like really raspy. And I mean, it couldn't have been her husband because her husband's Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi has more of like a Yiddish tone, a different accent totally. But it'll say auto, like a taxi driver. And I confirmed with the other recording that this was Aaron Sobel. He listens in on the freeway to all these conversations. He's a very sly guy. He knows technical. He even hacked into the emails of one of the ladies of Chemizach just as early as just as recent as this week, and it's happened in the past. And he's even admitted to Mrs. Chashin, who runs the Chemizach organization, that I listened to your conversation. She's got a new cell phone since then. She's actually got 2 to 3 new cell phones. And Sheikh Chemizach are constantly getting new cell phones because they're constantly being hacked. It's an official.
So let me ask you.
Operation over there.
How does a guy who's 28 years old, Aaron Sobel, where does he get the money to do this kind of thing?
Mrs. Chashin, before he broke off, he somehow made his way into the organization. He called her about money. He said, who gave you the shoot to go and offer girls from going to Lishon Sagias? Because he's the Rav of Chemizach. How could you say it's also to go in? Even though Chazish already said it, the Mark Butler already said it. But how could you say that when some girls are only hopeless through the Lishon Sagias? This lie that they keep selling. So he's like, he called up and said, I am the Menahel of Chemizach. A real chotov, I am the Menahel, who made you the Menahel. Anyway, so he's like, broke off and made his new organization. And this guy, when he was still part of the older, and he tried like being involved, Mrs. Chassin said, where are you getting all this money from? Because he said, I'll pay for a car for this. He paid for 3 ladies to fly up to London to the story for a different time. He paid for 6,000 shekel for a bus to take some ladies to Miron for like Weimer. He pays for taxis every day, 600 shekel from Beit Shemesh to Tel HaShomer. It's the money he has is like sand. It's literally like money like sand. So Mrs. Chashin, who runs Chemizach, said, I don't understand. Where do you have all this money from? And he blew it. He said, you're the first person to ever ask such a question. Nobody ever asked me such a question. Can you imagine such a question? Where am I getting the money from? Anyways, don't ask me this question, and I don't give it. I only lend it. But he never asked for any money back. He only lends it beyond his money. He went to Moshe Devzarga, one of the biggest chashuvei from the Avchei Yeshiva Yoshan, and connected with Eidach Reidus. Very prestigious. His word is like gold in Williamsburg by the Satmar Kehilas. And Moshe Zev, I spoke to him personally. And he came in with a letter to Moshe Devzarga saying, do not ask for money from chutzlaritz. We don't need money. It just makes it dangerous for the girls, and don't do it. It's dangerous. I don't know why it's dangerous, but that's what he said. And Moshe Devzarga, the first time in the history of Israel where someone's coming to a Rav and saying, don't give me money. You ever heard of an organization that's begging Rabbanim? Saying, please don't. I know there's money coming in and there's people helping out. I've got him in America, in Williamsburg, in Lakewood, in New York. Please tell them to stop giving us money. I've never heard in the history, maybe in Israel, for sure not in the history of Israel or Israel, where you have poor people and
So where do you think he's getting his? In other words, let me explain to the people what you're saying to the audience is that he was trying to persuade Rabbi Zargar and people from Chemizach to stop their fundraising activities. That way he would control money that he has from a different source, and he would be able to fund everything and do things his way and stop the Erlicha. And we can safely assume that he's getting this money maybe in part from people who he's managed to dupe in the Haredi community, but I feel that he's probably getting it under the table from the Israeli government.
Well, he definitely is advancing the agenda and the objectives of the Israeli establishment, that's for sure.
I mean, so it's a big mystery, but I say lichshesh mi boy. So now, what is happening? I understand Motzei Shabbos is an event. Can you tell our people about that?
Oh, Motzei Shabbos in Williamsburg, and in the Weizler Shul on Myrtle Broadway, I think it is. There's going to be a massive asifa. I say massive, I mean they're expecting hundreds of people there. There's going to be a nice roster of Rabbanim, mostly Satmar Rabbanim, Zachdish Rabbanim, Chassidish Rabbanim. There's also going to be some Litvish Rabbanim there. Moshe Weissman, Chashvi, and Yaakov Shapiro was supposed to, last minute he couldn't make it. Yaakov Shapiro is a Rav from Bayswater. And There's going to be a Afghanim there, and there's even going to be a Moroccan Yid over there who adopted not the story for this time, but there's going to be a whole roster of Rabbanim and Afghanim over there, and it's going to be basically to tell the truth. It's going to be a truth-telling ceremony with what is going on in Eretz Yisrael. How we have these Elachim, so to speak, these Kanaim, grandchildren of Amram Play, who turned on their grandparents and became
So I want to stress this. This is where I'm speaking about. This is the anti-Ruchniistic, the Amaleki, the Erev part of this thing, the Civil War. That we have people who until recently were strong fighters for everything Kedushadik, etc.
Yes.
And some of them are grandchildren of Rav Amram Blau, the great Kanoi.
Yes.
And now they themselves are shoulder to shoulder with this new organization that's run by
somebody was allowed to say that even if any of us would be dealing with the prisons and the court systems and the Israeli laws, and the technical lawyer, attorney, shaykhit, judge aspect of it for 5 years, we would get a little bit dulled with our ideology and get more into the technical. So how do we deal? How do we? And you become part and parcel. You become part and parcel of the system, and then you make deals. Okay, I'll give you this. Okay, I'll make sure the girls go in. You just help me get more boys out. Obviously they mean well. They don't mean to turn on their religion, and maybe they are actually getting some benefit. But the bottom line is that there's a terrible shmat happening as a result, and that is girls getting drugged and snagged. Yeah.
All right, I think we've covered the basics. We'll have to have you on again. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you very, very much for giving us this valuable. And I want to stress to the Olam that this is a parallel. This is a vidikavase. This is what we see, the same thing that we see Eichenstien, Frankenstein, we see Simcha Felder, and that's our next guest is going to discuss how these people are betraying us. Charedim, our Shluchei Tzibur, are betraying us with morality laws right here in New York State, right under our eyes, and they're getting away with it. So it's so hard to understand. Hashem is showing us, in effect, that with our most precious commodity, the Kedusha of Bnei Yisrael, is now being compromised, and Machrisayich Mehavayach is not coming from outside sources from the Misyavnim. The Ratgod is coming right from within the Haredi community, and that's just a tzara. That is a bechil l'doiris of where we're holding. Dimitri, do I have my other guest on the line yet? Has he called in?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. We'll have you again.
Okay,
Do we have a next guest? Hello, are you with us?
yeah.
Shalom Aleichem. And I got to speak. Okay, so we have approximately around 12 minutes or so, approximately. So I don't know if you were able to hear the what we were just saying before you came on. But we're demonstrating how there is now a civil war in the ultra Haredi community. There is a fifth column of grandchildren of Amram Blau that are in effect working now to achieve the goals of the Israeli government to get religious girls to go inside the Lishchas Hagiyos to try to obtain a patur, and in many cases these girls are then drafted and harassed. And I'm saying that this is the flip side of the coin of what's going on right under our noses here in New York and New Jersey, where we have Haredi politicians who represent us, who we voted for, we've empowered. They're our Shluchei Tzibur, whether we like it or not, especially if we don't protest and say that they're not our Shluchei Tzibur. And they're doing similar things with horrific legislation. So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about Eichenstien Frankenstein and the ERA that he voted for and the ERA that Simcha Felder voted for.
Well, there are two different ones. So I'll start with Eichenstien. So it's right now in this new state constitution, it says that you're not allowed to discriminate based on certain characteristics of race, color, creed, or religion.
shall not be subjugated to any discrimination in civil rights. And this is based by any person or firm, corporation, or institution, or any state law, agency law. So this could, so voted this week to increase, to add sex into that. So as far as New York State is concerned, there's a very good case to be made, leaving aside federal law, that something like machitzas could be answered, because separate but equal is not allowed under the is a principle. So if you're not allowed to discriminate, it's considered by much of the world today to be discrimination. And how that would apply, boys and girls schools would be a problem according to this.
Well, let me just say this simply to save time for people, just to save time. 45 or 50 years ago, in the late 1960s or the early 70s, there was major fights against the ERA on a federal level. So everybody across the spectrum of Yiddishkeit understood that there were all kinds of sakonis. And now that we've seen so many of things that we couldn't dream of that are occurring, okay, even without the ERA actually passing on a federal level, and there's a renewed push now to make it pass. Obviously, anybody who has kol misheyesh moach b'kod kodeh, anybody who has a little brains, realizes that it is going to be antithetical, anathema, and very damaging to us. So we don't even have to go into spending time to substantiate to people. We know that the ERA on the federal level, for instance, would, if there would ever be a draft of men or a compulsory service for men, like a Peace Corps or something, it would absolutely apply to women. We understand that in every state that increases and in their state constitutions, they ensconce ERA, makes it that much more likely, which we might discuss this evening or not, that it should happen on the federal level. So the fact that Eichenstien Frankenstein, the Zidacheva turncoat, smiling, nice, wonderful, I love him. I promise I like him because I like him, I like Felder, I like Manis Friedman, I like them all. But when they're poisoning us, that part that they're poisoning us, I revile, I'm repulsed, and I'm just like the Levi, where Moshe Rabbeinu said, take the sword and go out and kill your brothers. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said. Shamrim Resechu Briski and Sairu. So Eichenstein voted for an ERA that just changes the word, just adds the word sex, meaning the gender of women. Okay, good enough.
Just one more point. Considering how the liberals interpret the word sex today, it's very possible, though it's not guaranteed, but the courts have sometimes could rule this way, that this could include the transgenders.
So let me explain what you just said to the Olam. What you just said is like this. The court in 1973 magically found that when the founding fathers gave certain inalienable rights, it included a right for a woman to kill the baby in her womb. You understand? Which you all know that nobody had envisioned that. Recently, a turncoat, Russia Marusha, in the last 10 years, who retired recently, Justice Kennedy, one idiot, one Russia Marusha, decided that there is a constitutional right for the same genders to marry. So crazy things are happening, kiseder. So therefore, it's not crazy that the word sex put into the Constitution will mean transgendered and all kinds of hashkasa.
It's much worse than that, because we already have precedents. Obama, when he was trying to push the transgenders in schools, he did this because he said "pshat" in the word sex in the federal discrimination laws meant transgenders. Como also came out with that shot and said the New York State laws. Right now, the Supreme Court, they're supposed to decide this year whether sex in the discrimination laws includes transgenders. So it's not that we're predicting down the road maybe it would happen. It's already happened.
it's already here. Now, what is Felder voting for in the Senate?
Right now there's a fight in the Assembly and Senate because they have two different ERAs that they're trying to pass. So the more expansive one for most areas, except for schools, is the Senate's version, which adds to it ethnicity, national origin, age, disability, sex, including pregnancy, which is likely to be called abortion. So abortion is very likely. When you say sex, including pregnancy, a liberal reading of that could even get rid of the little bit of abortion laws they put into the medical, the health law this last year. So that could all go. And then they add sexual orientation, gender identity. And then they even more, they say denial or abridgment, and they put in equal civil rights, so that everything has to be equal today, so that's even more problematic, because what they call, if you have a man's bathroom, a woman's bathroom, it's going to be exactly equal. They can get, there's no separate but equal. Who knows what they could do with all these stuff. And they put in a whole list of stuff. The only thing that makes this bill a little bit better than the Eichenstien bill is that it says that schools are tougher from the sex rule, but it's because it added Toreva, it added the gays and it added the transgenders. It's very clear that, and they didn't put an exemption for that, so it's very clear that the Simcha Felder bill, as explicit as you could get from a deal that's going to be made, requires transgenders in schools.
So in other words,
And no religious exemption.
So let me just explain what we just heard. Felder might come and say, I'm doing a favor because what I've done is I'm fighting in the Senate. The ERA is going to pass. So at least I'm getting an exemption for yeshiva schools that at least will still be able to educate our kids. So our guest is telling us that he's not even protecting us there because of the increasing movement of transgenderism, which would not be protected necessarily in yeshivas. And as he said,
Explicitly not. It's very implicit, it will not be.
it's okay. And again, we have to understand, as we've seen, how liberal judges interpret things with elasticity for every craziness and accommodation. So, the answer to the myopic, short-sighted, narrow-minded view, Felder, who really just wants to, because he's been chastened by the fact that he was a big kingmaker when the Republicans held a slender majority, but now he was abused and almost wanted to quit being a state senator, according to rumors, and he had to come crawling on all fours to the Democrats. So he's lekarai for his personal reasons to maintain a modicum of import, so to speak. He is throwing our religion and our values under the bus. He's making a moed to Kechil Hashem. It's not a question of whether the ERA is going to pass or not, even if, God forbid, it does pass, but that our own shliach, our own tzig, our own representative should be doing this is sickening, and it's outrageous. I know on our WhatsApp, we had phone numbers for Eichenstien and Felder. I want to invite people again. It's so important that you're on the WhatsApp. So during the course of the week, we can't give you all the information here in an hour. If you have WhatsApp, or you can easily procure WhatsApp, and you contact us on 718-469-6999. Again, 718-469-6999. You could become a member of our chat, Rabbi Levin Live or Pure Rabbi Levin is another chat. We have Yiddishkeit Nashkafa, and that way you will be aware of exactly what's going on in the and updated on a on a timely basis. What else can you tell us about Governor Cuomo and
Let me
his?
just finish one more point about the Felder bill. What Felder voted for would mean that, of course, any law that's good in regards to transgenders or gays, that the liberals think is discriminatory, they could base, if this would pass, any law could be declared unconstitutional based on this. So this is not just one or two laws that's just a minute thing. This could have ramifications in every area of law.
In other words, let me interpret that also. In other words, what you're saying is like this: we have laws, legislation, but then there's supra laws, and that's the Constitution. The Constitution is lemaila from regular laws, and it could be interpreted very broadly. And therefore, somebody could pick something in commerce or something else where they imagine that there's quote-unquote discrimination according to their feelings, and therefore that would become a constitutional claim, and it would severely limit the ability of religious people to conduct their lives, and they will be even more under the thumbs of the anti-societal mushchosim.
So anyway, in regards to Cuomo.
Yeah, because we only have 2 minutes now.
So Cuomo's State of the State, at the very end of it, he spoke against anti-Semitism, and he had his way of fighting it by putting a new curriculum in there, even though it's mandated in the current curriculum, so I'm not sure what the problem is. But so he's talking about a new curriculum, and I'm willing to bet I'll take anyone up on the offer. I'll give $1, and I'll pay $1 million. You give me $1 for that he's going to throw in some LGBT thing in this new curriculum propaganda.
All right, let me cut to the chase because we're pushing out of time. The Nakuda is very simple. Governor Cuomo is using the attacks on the Jews to conflate, to equate people's bedroom misbehaviors with our religious values and our religious lifestyles. And therefore, the same taina that we had on the city level, that you're trying to stop hate by instituting a whole new office in education with curricula, the end it's going to be used by the mushchosim, and they're going to have far more use out of it. And while I appreciate very much the concept of a previous guest on a previous program, Allison, and doing the city, and if it's done properly, as she said, it says there has to be quality control, putting a good face on Yiddishkeit and doing things like coat drives and giving out gift cards and smiling and showing that we're not the devil is a positive thing. But everything has to be balanced. To allow curricula in the schools on the backs of Fruma Yidden is myopic, it's short-sighted, it's Felderism, it's Agudism. It hasn't worked for 40 years. It's killing us.
Just one thing, with the whole education thing, it's not even going to be clear there's going to be a religious school exemption, so this could be coming to a yeshiva near you.
Listen, I want to thank you very, very much. And in the final moments, I want to say that the tremendous chizuk that I will be discussing next week, and I'm putting out a video, is on the Yitzi Horowitz and Mendy Rosenberg, two people with ALS. One of them finished Shas. The other one is making tremendous Kiddush Hashem with them and their families. We want to end off with Chitayv, and we want to salute and salute them and their families. This is the aristocracy of Klal Yisrael. If you want chizik, you see what these two Yidden are doing in their Yiddishkeit and their families. And this is what we have to do. See Yehuda Levin, seid gesund.
The preceding program is a paid advertisement. The opinions and views expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of AM 620 WSNR or its management.
This is AM 620